Hello and welcome to Sim Strategy Gaming. I'm Sim. This episode will be about the first downloadable content for Railway Empire 2, the Balkan map, Journey to the East. Looking at our mission objectives, we see that we are going to take one step at a time and first set up a luxury train line between Vienna and Budapest. Did that right away, so that was fulfilled even before I unpaused the game. And then transport a total of 250 passengers in luxury lines. Need to grow the cities a bit before these luxury lines actually become profitable. But as the cities have reached around university size, 90,000 citizens, luxury lines can really make an extra good income. And then focus on growing the Austria-Hungary region. And let's see how we did that. We built this long line on the inside of the mountain range here. It's the option to build outside as well. That if one follows the river, that will make for less incline. But these locomotives, they are kind of modern. So even this Bavarian here, kind of a nice express train, has 62% tractive power. Can also use the whale tank with 150% tractive power, but mostly in with high inclines, mountainous regions, one can use this PLM. It's not such a fast train, but with a tractive power of 133, it can pull heavy freight loads pretty much straight up the mountains with as much as 10 or 11% incline. Later on, our main workhorse will be this KKSDB 170 with very nice high maximum speed and attractive power over 100%. As soon as it is over 100%, it can pull heavy loads up large inclines. But if the inclines are really hard, then the PLM here is the train with the most attractive power, the strongest train. Starting out as usual by connecting all the connection bonuses and starting trains in each of them. See here that we couldn't afford that many trains. Just set up one luxury train here on this one single line that we have, and then one little freight line here going into Vienna, and then from Verahan. Then I was as soon as I get some of these connection bonuses coming in, then we're going to start to have a few of these mixed lines going back and forth and growing the cities. Can't afford, with very little money in the beginning. We start out with just 1.5 million, and that's not really too much. So one have to be really clever and stingy about how to build these lines. Try to avoid as much as possible to build bridges, but still be able to circle around here, just this tiniest little bridge over there. And as soon as we get access to the, gonna save up to get this locomotive here, and as soon as we have that, that will be used for both the express and mixed lines, as that is the absolutely most modern and best train, much better than this mixed line here. It has almost as high attractive power and much better popularity and speed. Later on, the cities will grow really fast. We're going to make an absolute fortune on this map. And there is a special resource system here that makes it so that they will have a much higher fulfillment of demand, only needing 5 different resources here in the beginning. And all of these resources are accessible to us pretty much right away. When it comes to these luxury lines, I can just point out that pretty much right away, if there is a mission objective to transport this as many passengers as possible, I will put the price on the absolute lowest, just half price. But as soon as I achieve that mission objective, I will delete this line because it isn't really profitable at this point to have luxury lines. There aren't big enough cities for this. But as soon as the cities reach university size, I will put up the luxury lines and then I will turn it up to a maximum in order to get the max. If there isn't enough passengers that will take the luxury train with a maximum ticket price, I will not use them and rather go for normal passenger lines. Another thing to point out with the luxury lines is that they can only have the dining car. And but then if one were to say have an express line, often I will have the express lines, and then at some point I will switch the express lines into luxury express lines. And now and then of course with the normal passenger lines, I will have both the dining car and the mail car. But if I now switch this into an express line, there is no option here to remove the mail car, and then it will drag the mail car back and forth with absolutely no use. So make sure to turn that off before one transforms normal passenger line into luxury line. And so then almost a year of gameplay, we've been able to connect to Keshkimet, get the connection bonus from there, and further on to Debrecen. And then connect pretty much all of the resources in the Austria-Hungary region connected to us, so that they will be growing quite nicely. Looking at the mission objectives, we now are onto a daunting task. The daunting task will be to develop the Transylvanian region and produce 20 loads of steel in Kolosvar in one of our factories, and then deliver those steel to Sibuyu, which has demand for steel, even though it doesn't have any steel requiring factories. It just demands steel in order for us to build this more daunting lines further on down south, passing through these mountains here in Wallachia. And also we will have to transport 100 passengers from in a luxury train directly from Budapest to Sibuyu without changing trains. So all the way from here, this will have to be some sort of luxury line, and then to have this coming all the way, then that will be one of those really long lines that I have some bad experiences with. And actually now what I have been doing is that there were problems with these long lines, so that when this line went all the way from Vienna, Pressburg, Budapest, Keshkimet, Debrecen, and through all of these resources, then the trains start skipping stops, and they end up by having breakdowns and lose out of a lot of money. At some point there I had 0 mailbags because they spent so long time going from, say, Vienna and then to Budapest and then further on to Debrecen, and then say they were going to Keshkimet, but then they went all the way around, and I tried putting up different strategies. Sometimes I would set up waypoints in order for them to be moving right, but still that would be a problem. So what I did, and one can leave some comments if one have better solutions, but what I did was to just have these very small lines from Vienna, Pressburg, and then from Pressburg to Budapest, and from Budapest to Kecskemét, and then one from Kecskemét to Debrecen, like this, and connecting them all with warehouses in between, like this. So one can see now with the flow of goods, with the grapes here, that there will be warehouses for grapes, warehouses for wheat, lumber coming in from 2 different directions, and then passengers will just change trains by themselves, but these goods would then have to be switched over in each city because of these little lines. And one can have several lines on one set of tracks, and they will then share the same stations here, coming in from both sides, as one can see here. That was a bit awkward, and this usually I would just build circles, because with circles there aren't these problems. But when there are long lines, then perhaps better to be switching them into to smaller lines like this. And of course, all of these are mixed lines, as you could only afford one set of tracks, so that there aren't any. And also, the mission objective was to grow the cities, not transport the passengers. So then there had to be mixed lines, and then the mixed lines, they would need to have warehouses in between. And then almost 2 years into the game, I've been able to buy up the concession for Transylvania, a really big zone all over here. I would have preferred to build a proper circle, cut the line here in Kecskemét, make that into a hub, Debrecen, Kolosvar, Sibuyu, and Temesvar here, and Szeged. But I built it piece by piece, and I didn't have money to build all the way around here at this point. Only 300,000 coming in per week. That isn't so much. And besides, there was this this mission objective to have this express line here from Budapest to Sibuyu, all the way like this, and then I would have this express line going parallel to the mixed lines, using the same locomotive. So then, even though the express line might be a little bit faster because of the lighter loads, then these trains are almost as fast. But then to have this little lines still, and then as I build further on, I will put up extra smaller lines. Lots of this, making for then having a split station here. Sort of in many ways a confusing setup. But now we have been able to produce enough steel, deliver most of it to Sibuyu, and then very soon, actually right immediately, we will be able to have transported those 100 passengers in a direct line. And as soon as that has happened, I will remake this into a proper circle. But I wanted to show that often I will just show the final solution, but this is a very important step of the way. The Transylvanian zone is so big that if one has to wait all the time to get all the money that one needs, then that will take for a long time to connect to all of these cities. And we're still making some money, quite good money actually, from just having this. Have a quick look at the flow of goods, but of course we are going to change this now, and then to just have one line from Kecskemét to we cannot afford any auctions, not anything. Bought up this this steel mill here in Kolosva. But other than that, no money for any rural businesses or factories or whatever. But looking at the flow of goods, one can see the grapes. Grapes are very important here down east. People cannot live without the grapes. One can see now that it's divided, and Kashmir becoming this hub. Still the same setup here in Austria-Hungary, in the old empire. Lumber, lots of lumber down here. Lots of lumber. Then these cities grow on really nicely. And we can see that they're almost reaching university size, these Austro-Hungarian cities. And that also the trains are very, very busy. Meat, there was a lot of meat down in Transylvania, so no problems there. Not so much wine, so they get the wine from Austria-Hungary. And then bread, of course. Bread, not beer. These Eastern people, they drink their wine and they eat the wheat instead of making it into beer. Honey, that's one of those problematic things. Lots of honey up here, becoming really big, this rural business. But I think perhaps that it's starting to fill up a lot there and starting to becoming a problem to have that delivered all the way down through Kashmir. So you can see that many of these Transylvanian cities, they will have problems soon. And then weaveries. Weavery is not one of those resources that one needs immediately on this map. So weaveries can come on a bit later, but still a very important resource. And then by March 83, a little bit, a few months more into the game, I've been able to complete what I set out to do. Haven't changed so much here in Austria-Hungary, but cut the long line here in Kashmir. No need to take that line any further. Still having these little lines having the same setup. This is where I get my building monies. I didn't want to disturb that, and as long as these lines are short, then there will be no problems. And I really didn't want to take any chances on this. Might be a little bit more experimental later on, but for now, to have just this very secure setup. Build a 4-lane system around the Transylvanian zone. 4 of these same trains, all on just on automatic. Haven't made any particular passenger lines yet, but very soon I will go in here. The Kashmir Sibuyu lines. Some of these say take the innermost. The shortest turn this into passenger lines at some point. That will make for a lot less resources, and then I can also delete all of these stops here. Wouldn't have to make them go through there, but in many ways it is simpler, and I don't want to push the game too hard, and then they get at least they can do some maintenance here, even though they cannot pick up any goods because they are express lines. So I might turn some of these into express lines later on. But for now, at least, there's a lot of goods that needs to be transported, and to build up these cities really nice first, and then have the passenger lines and make absolutely sure that the passenger lines are filled, even though they cannot pick up any goods. They are, of course, excluding goods because they are passenger lines. See now how the flow of goods is much smoother now, much easier to control. No one have this. This is the Transylvanian zone, and this is the Austrian-Hungarian zone. Then the Bretzen belonging to the Transylvanian zone, even though it's originally actually a part of Austria-Hungary. So like this. Not so much have changed. But it's still always very important. Just look at the flow of goods. See that there are no everybody's getting what they need. Look at the percentages of how much they're getting. And see, in Budapest they're getting very little meat, even though there are lots of meat up here in Vienna. But I haven't been able to afford to build 4-lane tracks here yet. So then there's not enough trains to be transporting everything back and forth. But the Transylvanian zone is coming on really nicely. So we are now going to make a lot of money there. Then we can further on aim down into Wallachia and to particularly focus on Bucharest, and then to build a luxury passenger line down to Varna. Yes, like this, like the mission objectives now are requiring from us, and then to build up the entire Wallachia region. A quick look at the trains here. You can see, go out here and see that everybody is doing what they needed. If there are mixed or passenger lines, we use the double K, and then to use this PLM for freight only lines. And then it took me almost 3.5 years to reach down into Bucharest and Wallachia. And we can see now that we made for this Wallachia first route down east, not all the way to Constantinople yet, but we have at least achieved the mission objectives that we set out to do in Wallachia. And then now we're going for this Fruitful Endeavor in the Vojvodina region between Serbia and Slovenia, the modern Serbia and Slovenia countries. And then we would need to buy up a lot of industries and more focus on buying industries. I haven't bought any industries that aren't absolutely mission crucial, because these lines are expensive to build. Not made any much particular changes to do over some changes, but if we want to focus on this first, see that we built the 4-lane system here with the passenger line and the mixed line from Sibiu to Brasov. And then I could have connected this, but I rather want to have not too long lines, as previously mentioned, than to have a double set of warehouses here in Brasov that is mirrored to each other. A lot of goods being transported back and forth, and then they go through this Erdos hotel here in Split, one to Pitești, and further on to Craiova, and then one to Bucharest. And then to build this Wallachia circle here, I will expand it to include the Pleven as well. But for now, this is looking good inside the region that we are allowed to build. And then there was a crucial mission objective, which I built pretty much right away before I built this region. Then to have this one line here going down to Varna. And that used to be also, in addition to this mixed line, there used to be an express line. But then as soon as I had reached the mission objective to transport 100 passengers, then I deleted that one, because there aren't enough citizens here in Bucharest, and certainly not enough in Varna to make a luxury line profitable. Made some few changes up here as well. This turned this into an 8-lane system because traffic is absolutely just exploding on this map. The cities are growing so fast that one can hardly keep up with the supply and demand. You can see there's a lot of red trains going around here. So then now to have a really proper 8-lane system with a mixture of I wanted to have ticket price at the max for the luxury trains, but then there wouldn't be enough luxury passengers. So then I can sort of combine that with an ordinary passenger line that has a lot more, because they can pick up mail bags as well. Luxury trains have only luxury passengers, they have no mail bags. So then on these two innermost, mixture of luxury passengers and express trains, and then express trains on the second set, mixed here, and then to have some freight only in order to assure that everybody gets their freight goods. There are so much to be done there, and then if there are freight only, to put them on only being able to pick up freight, then it might be better to use this PLM, because it will here, for example, there are some really nasty high inclines up and down the mountains, and then to have much of the freight being taken there by proper freight trains. Also made for this Uber cross here, in order to pick up them as well, that they would need their wool. But then as I had built that line, I thought that okay, one can expand upon this. So then to have a line going from Szeged up to Huber, and then to Kecskemét, take some passenger there, and also some mostly passengers, I think, but also some freight goods. Some mixed line here. See how that is doing. Not so much traffic yet, but these cities are really in demand. And then from Temesvar to Kollosvar, one passenger line that skips on this iron resource. There are all these little lines here from before, and then I sort of just integrate all of these lines. There used to be one line going from this iron resource onto Kollosvar because it has our steel factory, but now there is no need to have a dedicated line that is just sitting there and waiting, and I'd rather have this mixed line that has this one actually has a lot to do. In Kollosvar, since this turned into an 8-lane, there's no room for any more station expansions. So then to have this Kollosvar dock up here, which only should perhaps be renamed into Kollosvar dock, like this. I really like to have proper names, and to make sure that everybody is easy to navigate this system. Becomes this map is absolutely huge, and one might say that this is one of the most difficult levels, and also a little bit bugging here and there and such. So that to make sure that one have control over everything, and that these lists of trains are ordered, that they have the right names, and not just go for the simple names that are given by the computer, which might be confusing. Make your own names, and make a good list of stations here, so one can see that which is which. Also had to expand upon this this Austrian-Hungarian line, turn that into an 8-lane system as well. with one set of luxury, one set of passenger, one set of freight only, and one set of mix. And then I tried again. I tried this to avoid this buggy behavior that really bugs me, and I was hoping that somebody would leave a comment or something and explain this to me. And then what I did now is I made for this 4-lane grids, sort of trying to mimic a circle, so that this train here, um, it goes sort of in a circle like this. And I thought that this might do the trick, and then to have these waypoints and putting up my waypoints in both ends, I think, yes, to make sure that they go sort of around and around on a line, if that makes any sense to anyone. And then to have the signals set up like this, 2 and 2 in parallel. That's one of the tricks that I tried out. I've been trying all sort of things. And then also built this docking solution here. These stations are all filled up, so then one needs a special dock here, and one needs a special dock over here. And then I think to point out that these trains, they are going to be super duper busy, and the train is the long is with a high incline, and it's long. So then at this point I have a lot of looking at the flow of goods. A lot of things are flowing over these mountains now. So with the Brasov, where is it getting it? But it needs a lot of things are being dragged all across the mountains. Bread here coming from Sibuyu to Brasov, being further distributed down here south. And then to have all of this coming down, 54 loads of bread should be delivered to Wallachia. That is going to take a lot of traffic and a lot of long and expensive hauls. And then perhaps rather have less freight moving here, and rather try to have as many passengers as possible going over the mountains and make the most money. But still, the mission objective as of now were to grow this region. So then we have to, of course, focus on that. Having a little look on how this Saber Krajnova, is it getting everything it needs? Is it exporting everything? Not so much need for these more advanced resources down here yet, these industrial resources, but certainly they will require a lot of the basic goods. And now, more than 4 years into the game, this really takes some time. We have been able to complete this Vodivodenia zone here, including Novi Sad and Osijek, and connecting them to Temesvar and Szeged. With this Fruitful Endeavor mission objectives, we were of course required to produce 20 loads of wine and 10 loads of white nougat in your own factories and businesses. So then, of course, to buy up this one here immediately, delete it, and then to build up a nougat factory, and also buy up the winery here in Osijek. But in addition to that, to make absolutely certain that they get what they need to buy up this grape farm here, and the honey farm in here, and also I bought this wheat farm here as well, in order to just make absolutely certain that they get everything they need, because it's so important to achieve these mission objectives fast, and then in order to get the maximum amount of bonds. And see now how the Nougat is being nicely transported onto the Austrian-Hungarian zone, like this. I used to not have this Nougat being transferred here in Temesvar. If I turn this off, then pretty much everything is going to Austria and Hungary. Some to Szeged here, and Osijek isn't demanding any yet, but all of these cities up here are now getting their Nougat. So maybe certain to make a good setup, but no special lines. There aren't any dedicated lines that go. It goes through this warehouse here in Kecskemét up to further on to Vienna, and that wasn't so much of a problem actually. So that turned out to be quite all right. Made for this extra line here in Osijek. I thought I might have some Nougat here as well, but I might have turned that off in favor of other stuff. Lots of things that needs to be transported. A carpet factory popped up here in Szeged. Could have used this dye resource up here, but then I already had connected a dye resource here in Murati that were able to deliver the required resources. There's so little. The factory is so small yet. It's just built by the computer. So this more or less takes care of Szeged's need like this, and it's important to save money, because as we build the library now, and Novi Sad has reached the proper size, as we build the library there, we will have some needs for a lot of money. We have 50 million in the bank almost, but still, in order to develop all of these regions of Bulgaria, that is going to cost us a lot of money. In addition to the Vodenia zone, we were also able to develop Moldova, making an extra line here first from Bucharest into Odessa, into Ukraine, but we still refer to this as the Moldova zone. A little bit of Ukraine here. And then to have a long line here as well, down to Varna, and then two sets of lines from Bucharest now. There used to be only this line, which I have turned into a 4-lane system now, with both mixed and passengers. And then an extra line here that takes up this wool resource, Bucharest having a weavery, and then also a little bit of extra olives are always good. One is down east, down southeast. They dig on their grapes and they dig on their olives and honey. But see how well made for this developing the Moldova zone. The resources here are placed very awkwardly inside the mountains, and so then first of all, to connect this line from Braslav to Braila by an hotel-only station hub here. There are no resources, but one can build the stations wherever one like, and sometimes to have this and see that this is a really busy hotel with a lot of redirects. And then people from Braslav can change here and go straight up to Stanovic, which is actually in Romania, but we refer to this Moldova. And then a line from Stanovic on to Ilazi, and then further on to Chisinau. Some of these names are a little bit difficult for me, and such me being from the northern parts of Europe. And then one can see how, say with with Ilazi. It's getting we could have changed the resources here in Senovitz, but that would be an extra long line. So they actually changed in this coal resource. We don't have use for coal just yet, but to put up a station here with a little hub, with a hotel that is kind of busy, and also a warehouse. So then we don't have to go all the way to Senovitz in order to reach this northern Moldovan line. A quick look at the flow of goods. See that very many goods are now being transported through this hub with the coal resource. Like this. Might be a little clever. Also here, I connected all of these resources, the cheese and the lumber, onto this halami grape farm. But one can see now the way, if one does it like this, if one lets resources go into another resource, there is a tendency for this to be waiting a long time. It's much better to let the resources go into a city that are actually consuming them. There is way too much traffic now up and down these mountains, so that sometimes they have to wait for a long time. There are no interflictions now, no problems other than there are being too few trains. But then after all, this region is outside of the mission objectives, and it's not crucial in any way. We're just trying to expand the entire map and to make extra money from wherever we can. We had the money for it, so that. But now to build the library, Novi Sad doesn't really need the library. Actually, it's better for it to have the immigration office, as it already have 88% fulfillment on demand. Immigration office would actually increase the population growth more than a library. But now we're going to build a library and see now how it. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but it will bump up to a fulfillment of demand of almost 100, and one cannot have more than 100. So now we are going to head down into from the Fruitful Endeavor into a business venture, and then we will be transporting first of all in the luxury line directly from Budapest to Novi Sad without changing trains, and then we're going to develop Serbia. Reach 40,000 citizens in this. It's already almost 40,000, so that will be okay. And then in order to deliver 16 more white nougat on the Vojvodina zone, I think I'm gonna build an extra nougat factory here in Osijek. These Austrians, they are really into their sweets. And we can see now with the flow of goods that there are plenty demand, at least not full. We have more production than demand, but still the demand will just keep on growing. And I have cut it off here in Temesvar, but if I were to turn that on, then the sweets will go in this way as well. I have a lot of money, but still I don't buy up everything that is on auction. If it is on auction for being unprofitable, there's usually a reason for that. Here now there was an incredible amount of traffic on this Vienna, Austria-Hungarian region. So then how to deal with all of that, and then to build up more and more of these lines, having 3 stations in each city, one here more or less particularly dedicated freight line, and then along here going from Kecskemét to Budapest, from Kecskemét to Vienna, and then one docking into Pressburg. Pressburg being so in more or less in the center here. So then it has Vienna to the west, and then Budapest and Kecskemét to the east. See if we got some more bonds. No, but we're taking up the maximum amount. Now, only a few months later, delivering this nougat and growing this was not much of a problem. So as soon as I flip this over, then so now it's extremely lucrative to have exporting these goods. I'm not quite convinced. I still think that transporting passengers is the absolutely most profitable business. But now we're going to move down to Sofia and really conquer Bulgaria down here. This region's accessible to us now. See if we got the opportunity to take up some more bonds. No, but if I repay this bond now, I can take up a huge loan, which is actually much less interest rate. So do that first. Sometimes it really pays off to pay back the loan and get a bigger loan. Even though it's in the long run, if one just keeps on building up more and more and more bonds, that might actually be the best way of getting as much money as possible. But see how we set off this fruitful business venture business. One particular dedicated mission objective line here. This is one of those things that aren't super profitable, but we are required by the mission objective to have a direct line between Budapest and Novi Sad, and then just to build a couple of bridges and make it like this, so that we are certainly having, well, there aren't that many luxury passengers, but they go in a direct line, at least. You can see that we are running on deficit here, but it doesn't matter so much. It matters more to have produced all this, complete our mission objectives, and as well to have produced the nougat required like this. And this, we connected this on two lines, one from Krajnova, from Wallachia down to southern Serbia, and then from this all the way up, and also here as well, as the same as the Moldova hotel, also have a hotel here in where is this? Serbia, I think. A Serbian hotel at Rama that doesn't pick up any resources, but have a lot of passengers going back and forth, more and more of these. And then to have this connected both to Temesvar, not all the way further. There's a split here, so that the lines won't be too long. And also from this to Belgrade, of course, connecting the two Serbian cities together like that. And then there were the Croatian circle here, connecting Zagreb to Austria up here. And then to have that, there is one now zone here with both passenger and mixed lines, triple line setup, going like around like this. And then there will be a line here all the way to Belgrade, of course, with a hotel here at Brown, going up and up and up. And actually now it seems a little bit messy here, and it is, and it's becoming hard to explain everything that I've done. This mission is hard, but at least it's connecting to Pressburg and all the way to Vienna. So there is this Belgrade-Vienna express, and also outside of the Croatian zone, one from Vienna down to Zagreb, and then Osijek, and also to Belgrade. So Belgrade has 8 lanes coming in here, but they're going in different directions, well, both ending up in Vienna, but one through Pressburg and this brown hotel, Osijek, and both going to Osijek actually, but one via Zagreb. One very important thing to point out when one puts up all of these, and a mistake that I did, I always make mistakes. It doesn't matter how many times you play the game, you're always going to do something. And then what I did was that to start with, this line, if one remembers, it used to go a lot more up into the mountains here and was a little bit longer, and then I built for this extra nice express to the southern Budapest station, which I made absolutely, I had more money, so then I made it absolutely as straight as possible. And then, but then it turned out to be too straight, so that you can see that this train, for example, it had completed its last turn without any freight. And the reason for that was that this line up here, the northernmost line, that was becoming more than 25% longer than the new line that I built. So I had to rebuild this system to make sure that it was not much longer than the new competing system, or else nobody would take the train. They would rather just stand waiting on the station and be left behind. And then these passenger lines, they would just go back and forth empty. Because if one line is longer than 25% than a competing line going to the same destinations, then nobody will use it. That is a very, very important thing to keep in mind if one builds very many stations, of course. Here is a breakdown. I can not have any explanation for how that happened. It's going to waypoint 6, and I put up waypoints all over the place in order to try to force these trains to follow the route that I set up. But still, they sometimes they don't. This one is heading over here, in between Pressburg and Vienna, and it's standing here by Keshkemet. And why this happened, I don't know. But I think that putting up waypoints at least minimizes the problem. But at this point, at least, minimizes the problem with long hauls. If they're just very small, just going from one station to another or 3 stations, then usually there isn't any problem. But if the hauls get long, like with this train here, that goes all the way from Novi Sad and through the Hotel Huber and to Vienna, and has with the waypoints now, it has 24 stops. Then sometimes it just bugs and it start sort of missing out on stops, which is of course very very dumb, losing out on money and making for a lot of confusion. I haven't done anything more down here to the east, so well, the map looks like this as of now. Trying to rely less and less on these warehouses and trying to have more and more direct lines, because warehouses are very clever to make sure that all the trains have more than enough to do. But one can see now clearly that they are already being entirely filled up pretty much all over. So then one must build parallel tracks in order to relieve some of the burdens. And so then, almost 5 years of gameplay. This takes a bit of time. We've been able to complete the Bulgarian zone here, and Prince of Bulgaria. He has been taking his joyride around our tracks, able to make 8 different goods available in Sofia at the same time, and they reached 50,000 citizens, and transported 150 passengers on a luxury line from Nice to Plovdiv without changing trains. It's important when one is trying to build up a city, not only to rely on this main traffic here, with the 8-lane system pretty much right away. Money is flowing in now, so we could afford it. But then to set up these special trains, see what it needs, and then to say from okay, it needs its number, then make for a number train like this, using the same trains. And then with every resource, to make sure that it gets it right away before one starts the main traffic. Let these trains come in, and then Sofia will have a good growth pretty much right away. So for our next set of mission objectives, being the last ones, to reach 120,000 citizens in Constantinople. 120,000 citizens is quite a lot, and even though Constantinople starts out as a big city, that is still going to take some time. And then I struggled with this 40 loads of furnitures. Come back to that later. But first of all, transport 300 passengers in a luxury line between Plovdiv and Constantinople without changing trains. Then to build one down here, that would be pretty straight. But it's not so easy to build these circles that I like, so I have to rely a lot on these long lines that are a bit buggy, to say the least. Haven't changed so much in our original setup here. Most of these cities actually now are more or less filled with stations. Like with the Osijek here, it has room for 4 more lanes here, but otherwise 3 stations, 2 filled with 8 lanes, and one new one now in this call it the Bosnian zone, including Split, Mostar, Sarajevo, and up to Osijek around here. And we built that in addition to the Bulgarian zone here. So this is what we managed since last, which isn't so many months ago, so not so much have changed, but one can see now that this is starting to become quite complicated, but still I think that it would be a good thing to have a look at the flow of goods, and then one just have to go through it all, see that this Bosnian zone, they are getting their grapes from Vojvodina, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then this bounces over here. I don't think there are any grapes here, no. It's because on this zone, these lines that go from Vienna to Belgrade, they have grapes coming from Zagreb. I can't really explain it all on this map, but there are other videos where I explain this more carefully, how to use 3 stations and how to properly arrange the warehouses. But at least one can see now which stations that have warehouses in them. It's a little dumb that one can't see how many warehouses there are and which warehouses. So then, as soon as one builds more stations in a city, it's you have to sort of look into each individual station in order to see on which lines the actual resources are being distributed. Here, there might seem to be a conflict. It goes in both directions, but this is one of those freight-only lines, so there will never be this. These grapes up here will never go down this line because there isn't any cities to fulfill. This Sofia Bulgarian zone, it has wheat on its own, lumber, it has meat, wine, bread, honey, lots of good things down in Bulgaria. It has cloth, and then it needs to have an import of olives from Belgrade. So, like this. Cheese, where does it get the cheese from? It gets its cheese from. I expanded upon this Wallachian zone now, so it includes the Pelban, even though that's a part of Bulgaria. And now, through the Pelban hub here, it gets its cheese. These factory resources are becoming more and more in demand. One can see now that it goes back and forth between Krajnova, but that's not a problem because Krajnova is producing their own fashion and will never require any from Rus up here. It has planks, no carpets yet, but there aren't really any demand for carpets. Olive press. There's only one set of olives up here in Brasov, but that is so little that it's hardly worth. They can supply themselves barely, and then if there are any excess, they can go to Sibuyu. And then salt. There wasn't so much salt up north, but down south there is the opportunity to export salt all over the map. It's a long way of exports that goes like this. And then with the other resources, very little use for them at all. We had Nougat, of course, they built up, coming some demand for cement. See how this cement is moving. All the cement is down here in Bosnia and Croatia, but this is okay to do as long as this resource is on the same line. This is actually on 2 lines. But it is then also on the same line there, so they can use the same warehouse setup, and pretty much all of it goes to Austria and then to Transylvania, which is becoming our sort of main money-making machine to have that in Romania. Yes, we've already looked at the Nougat. But see, otherwise up here. How is this flowing about? Nicely. Are Sarajevo getting everything that it needs? Yes. Honey. It has honey on the same zone. These halls are very long, but there are so much resources and so no settlements on this map, and so that we make good money on this. There's built in a hotel cross here in the Bosnian zone because there were so many resources left out from this enormously long line around. So then to have a hotel cross in the middle that also picks up olives and makes sure that everybody in Bosnia and Croatia are getting their olives from sort of the inside. And then where is Sarajevo get at? There is cheese on the inside as well. And then one might have a look at this more. See that it popped up, all of these nice factories. I don't usually buy them up unless I'm required to do that. No need for fashion up here in Moldova yet. The series they will grow, and then they can have they have their own cloth, and that can be used for producing their own fashion. One see that it's so much traffic anyways that to be exporting more resources up here would be too much for the trains to be handling. passion coming down here to Sofia. We'll have the planks. There are more planks. Yes, Sibuyu. And then I tried to export some planks over the mountains, and we can see that the trains they can hardly keep up with the passengers. So and then the more resources one puts into a warehouse, since these mixed lines that I use a lot, they will prioritize these freight goods, so then they will leave passengers behind. And the way to do it then is to have well, actually I have a mixed line here, but later on I might change that into a passenger, a freight only line, so that it takes only that. But then it has used for the PLM, the freight train, for mixed, and they will prioritize passengers. And then to have this one, even though there are very high inclines, I can still use a good express train like this for this. It will manage the inclines. Let's see, honey. Honey is one of those a little bit more difficult resources. So that is actually being transported over the mountains there and going to Sibuyu. That might be too much, but then otherwise you have to rely on this down here in Virginia. Have a look here. See, now I'm suspecting there might be some problems with the delivery. Yes, an enormous amount of problems, because no matter what I do, I filled up 3 stations to the brim here in Pressburg, but it just doesn't matter anymore. There are so many passengers, luxury passengers, everything, so that these freight goods that they have, I might have to reconsider this, build a new system, some other ways of getting the honey coming down here and being transported. You can see, even though all that honey accessible, it is still too little in Budapest, and even less in Kecskemét and Szeged. And then Szeged should rather be supplied by this honey, which is immediately next to it, but it is waiting for these resources to come down here from Pressburg. One way to solve that problem is simply to just take it away from the warehouse, put it up again, and then it will go back to where it came from, and then we might hope that they would get their let's say, at least with Szeged, would rather be demanding honey from this closer honey resource that is actually running empty, so then I might have to bump that up. Well, there are a lot of things to be thinking about on this map, on this level, and I cannot show it all, but at least the general setup, and to try to have as many circles as possible, trying to keep these things local mostly, but relying on warehouses, but still using them as little as possible, which is quite a lot actually, even though one tries to not overload the lines. One can rather often, at least this level, build this long direct lines like this, not relying on a warehouse. Actually, I am relying on a warehouse there, but at least a warehouse much closer and specially dedicated to only this particular city. They're both called Rama. There's the Rama Hotel here, and there is the Rama Wool Resource over there. And so then, after almost 6 years of struggling to build the Orient Express, we've finally been able to not only reach Constantinople, but grow it into a proper city. Still with more than 120,000 citizens, and still having 72% fulfillment of demand. Growing it was not so hard. I was good at remembering to build these special lines over there, just starting it up and then deleting them as soon as they had sort of done their job. What I really struggled with was this furnitures. I made for a perfect setup, I thought. Built a furniture factory here in Varna, and then I had planks coming in plenitude from Odessa. Built this extra 8-lane line just to be absolutely certain that they were getting their lumber, and then lumber from Chisinau to Odessa, becoming planks, becoming furnitures in Varna, and then further on from Varna to Constantinople to furnish the Sultan's palace in order to make him a happy man. But then, for some strange reason, this didn't really work out. But the furnitures, they went back and forth in all kind of different directions. I should much more have turned off all of these ordinary like I did here, just turn them off, not pick up any furnitures, allow for the furnitures then to build up and then send them down. I tried that, but then there were lots of furnitures coming in on very long, strange halls, and one can see that there are several places where the game is bugging. This maintenance, serious maintenance breakdowns. This one going to checkpoint number 10. They shouldn't have done that. They should have gone to see which direction it's moving. It's going down there. It should have gone to past there. It should have gone to Osijek, and it has been going haywire for a long time. And I tried my best to avoid these things, but then it seems to be a little bit of a bug here. But that only counts with this pretty much on this map. Otherwise, one can avoid this by building circles and not too big maps. We can see now that I actually have 1,410 trains in use, which is, of course, quite a lot, and perhaps that has something to do with overloading the system in some way. But the way that we reached Constantinople, at least, enough complaints. Built 3 stations now here in Plovdiv. 4 lanes, passenger and mixed, going all the way through Varna, connecting it there up to Bucharest, and 1 set here that is more like the express going to Constantinople with both ordinary passenger lines and luxury, and then the southernmost here, 1 4-lane set going to this 4-lane set going to Constantinople as well, but taking a little bit tiny different route. Some extra resources coming in here to Erdene in order for it to be able to produce enough wine for Constantinople. Everything going down to Constantinople. Also 1 from Erdene to Bucharest, and then and also to Constantinople. Finish off that city first. 1 of this Constantinople Korlu, which includes all of these resources, nice resources down in Turkey, so that Constantinople is always being fed nicely. 2 of these, just that might be a little bit too much. I see that I haven't got that much to do, but I was very keen on having Constantinople getting everything that it needs. I just immediately set up 3 stations and fill them up so that there are 16 lines, so they are these back and forth lines. So say they're not 24 to 12 separate lines coming in like this, with luxury passengers and freight and ordinary express goods. But then in order, we will also have to focus on this optional tasks, and the optional tasks, they're having 2.5 million citizens connected to our rail network. That came on very quick and nice. That was not really much of a problem. But then to develop Greece, have had one train set here coming from Plovdiv, going all the way over here to Thessaloniki, and then for 4 of these, or 2 back and forth lines, and then also one from Constantinople, that being one of our mission objectives. And in order to ensure that they were absolutely direct, I let, on the way from Thessaloniki, I didn't want to go through this Uxa resource here, because that includes an hotel, and I wasn't quite sure. Sometimes the game don't count the passengers if they switch trains or if they sleep over in a hotel, so it's absolutely direct here. But then as it goes back from Constantinople to Thessaloniki, it of course goes through Korlu and the hotel, and further on down to Thessaloniki, like this. And then from Thessaloniki, switching, of course we filled up all the stations there. So now there are 2 warehouses mirroring each other, having these goods, meat, plank, and olives, being switched over. And then you can see this line here going to Skopje. 3 of these lines actually going to Skopje. I have all this money, my money is just pouring in now. I paid back all my loans, so then I don't know what to do with all that kind of money. And then there is wine produced in Skopje and also in Thessaloniki, so that they're both connected to this grape farm up here, but with separate lines. No need to put them together, no need to make too much systems, because that will just make for a mess. And then to have this 3-station warehouse set up here in Skopje, making for the best growth possible. And then to have this resource line going through here into the middle station, into central Skopje, and then also from central Skopje to Tirana, which also have a docking station down here, which picks up the resources that are south there. I think this is southern Croatia, I think. And further on from Tirana and also from Skopje, these 2 sort of meet. There being a hotel here at this iron resource. I don't need the iron, but I need the hotel. So 4 lines here coming from Skopje, meeting the 4 lines from Tirana, up to an hotel here in Marko. And going to Podgorica, which are being also supplied through a docking station up here, so that they get their wool and also more of these grapes coming down. And then the line from Skopje, it goes to Sarajevo and further on to Belgrade. And then the line from Tirana, it goes to Mostar and connects to both of them, then connecting to the Croatian circle from each different side. So that was pretty much how I updated this. At this point, we are owning a lot of industries because I had money to buy pretty much whatever, and then when I buy them, I just bump them up. On this map, it would be very beneficial to set up manual loading and have absolutely control over everything. But that would just become too much to set up 149 different lines and all calculating this perfectly. I see some people they have done an absolutely fantastic job of getting a lot of points on this map. I barely made it to chief executive, as we will see now, but still, I mean, with this general setup and not spending too much time on this, I still spent 40 hours, a full work week, on just making this system here in Balkan, one of the absolutely hardest and also the largest map. It's not only hard with all of this resources being placed inside the mountains and cities on peculiar places, but it is also so very big, and this new resource system that makes it so that the cities grow extra fast. We're really needing these luxury lines. It is quite the challenge, but then it is fun to have a challenge from time to time. Well, let's see how we did this. I still have one optional task to complete, and as soon as I complete that one, we made it for the 19th placing. There aren't so many people that have completed this mission, at least not on the Xbox where I'm playing. But we barely made it, and I'm really happy that I did. Spending 6 years on this game and 40 hours of my time. In the end, one can go about and have a look at all of these resources, how they were distributed. Spent a lot of time on setting up all of the warehouses. Don't think I have the stamina to explain all of it, but let's see with honey, which is one of the more crucial resources that is being set up. Not so much have changed here, but some changes have been made, obviously. Here, at least, Chisinau going down to Odessa, having this line, that's the supplies Odessa to become to grow bigger. Up here, still pretty much the same. Made for this extra split here now because they're trying to relieve some of the pressure here at this warehouse, at least with lumber now, and that this works much better now with this going through all of those resources and picking up everything Vienna needs, and that Vienna is getting a direct supply of most of what it needs, and that it doesn't have to go through the warehouse. The lumber in particular, if that had to go to Pressburg and then to Vienna, then everything broke down. So now at least Vienna has direct supplies, no warehouses here. Most of it's goods, while Pressburg still being this hub for delivering to Austria, not only to Austria-Hungary, but also down south to Vojvodina and further on to Croatia and even Bosnia. Take a lot of time to explain this in detail, but if anybody left a comment and told them that I want to see how all of the warehouses are set up, I could make a separate video of this last final setup of the of the warehouses and how they were functioning at the end. But one has to do a lot of trial and errors and try the best to make this work. See, with cheese now, cheese also being one of those resources, 9 cheese on the map, and they all have to be going into the right places. So having a look at this warehouse, see if that is being completely filled up. Yep, it is. Too much, but still a lot of cheese is able to reach Cernovich and Ilazi and even to Chisinau. But Chisinau also now being supplied by this extra route from Odessa. Having perhaps a look at the more difficult, the more advanced goods. I mean, see how in the Sofia region we have built up a new fashion factory in Plovdiv, owning it, using every opportunity here, like in Pleven, and then build up new industries. Pleven now has this chemical factory because it's so close to a coal resource. And chemicals being very much in demand and needed. They can see now that it also goes down to Constantinople, which has been getting quite a bit of chemicals and been growing nicely from it. But now demand is great for the chemicals, and that there aren't enough coal resources on the map spread neatly around. There are a bit, but not so much. And after some time, I felt that I had enough. Not using too much warehouses for these advanced goods, rather relying on lines to pick them up and transport them directly. Here, here's a problem. No, there isn't. Okay, because Krajnova is at the end of the line. So then this furniture factory here in Sofia is not going to be conflicting with Krajnova. See if we got some just one paper mill. Yes, I built a paper mill in Constantinople, making sure that Constantinople at least could feed itself. Have a couple of these olive oil factories. See how that works out. Not so much olives up here in Austria-Hungary, and that is more resource down south. So then split at least, trying to supply its own zone. Salt. One of those things that I'm actually can check out and see that salt is being distributed from down in Greece up here to Croatia, and then we have another salt. Of course, the old salt here that has grown very nicely by itself. If it is growing by itself, then there's no need to buy it up at all. We don't buy factories or resources in order to get rich. We buy them in order to get more goods so that the cities can grow more and that we can earn, the cities become bigger, and then we can earn more from the passengers. This salt resource, not supplying Constantinople, but supplying all of this region up north, because Constantinople gets its salt from here down south. It has access to a much closer resource. And then having one up here as well, in Varna also. And then I think I'm actually going to just sum it up there. There is so much to be said about this mission. and I'm not sure if I did it the best, but at least I achieved director barely. I think that a lot of people are struggling with this mission, and there is this nice trophy to be getting on the Xbox if one actually achieves chief executive on this level. Not a second-class murderer, I think it's called. It refers to the movie, the Orient Express movie, I think. It's kind of funny, and it's a really nice achievement to have. And I'll be happy to go into more details if there are interest, but I think that I will sum it up now. At least one can see how I built this, try to build this as clear and easy as possible, but still it is quite a complicated achievement. So then, one can feel free to like and subscribe, leave some comments. That would make me happy. Get in touch with somebody like-minded as myself. And then hope to see you next time. Goodbye, and enjoy this absolutely fantastic game.